What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to Wrenching Wrecked. We're in the Volvo today. I got the timing belt done 2 days ago. Had to move some stuff with the truck, so back in the Volvo. Still a little loud in here, and that flexi exhaust did not push the pipe far enough back, so I gotta fix that at some point. But now it just kind of sounds like an import car-ish. I mean, it is an import car, but you know, one of those kind of want-to-go fast ones. But we just fired it up. Been driving for 2 days this way. I still don't think I've got enough mileage for the monitors, but I figured I'd give you guys a final update just to show you how it's actually working. It's a little loud in a sporty way, but with the 5-speed, whatever, I can handle a little bit of it. I mean, in contrast, it's way quieter than my truck, it's way quieter than the Falcon, way quieter than the van, but louder than I want for a old man mobile. But yeah, I mean, it's running good. So we got the heat and the dash ripped apart. This control panel is what I think is wrong with this right now. So I got the glove box out, and all of the electronic blend door motors are completely disconnected because this switch that controls those electronic motors is not working whatsoever, nor is this temperature control one. So I have everything locked out at full blast, full heat on windshield defrost, and if I'm needing to heat myself, I just reach underneath the steering wheel here and turn the flap myself. So far from done in that regard, but it is working, running, driving, not leaking coolant, not leaking power steering fluid, and it's driving well. It's just kind of the odds and ends that I still need to finalize. I would like to get this control panel swapped out. I have a new one sitting at the house, and since I got an aftermarket head unit with a bunch of room, it's not too hard. I just gotta pop that cluster out, swap the wiring over, and then I can test those motors. My thought with that one is none of my controllers, I have 2 controllers on here that actually do work and actuate the way they're supposed to. 4 other ones do not work. And to me, the odds of 4 blend door motors going out at once is very unlikely. So hopefully the parts will work for that. It wasn't cheap, like 110, 120 bucks on eBay, but I looked around at some local yards and nobody had Volvo stuff in stock at any of the junk yards around me. So that's kind of where we're at. Quick little update, and then later on we'll update you guys at the shop with all of the coating stuff that happened. I don't know if it's the end of the election cycle or what, but we got real busy the last 2 days. We'll update you guys a little bit later, and hopefully, fingers crossed, I can get this thing through the emissions, or at least get the monitors ready and then drive over to the emissions. I got a little pocket scanner in here, so I've been checking it every drive cycle or every duration of getting a couple more miles on it and trying to run it through its paces. In theory, it should be good. The O2 is registering, it's reading and functioning the way it's supposed to when I go into the data. I think with that little spark plug fouler plus the paint thinner in here, it might trigger that enough to say that it's working better than it actually is for an original Cat on a 1996 car with 288,000 miles. So that's it for now. I said I didn't know where that video was going to go, so this is where it went. Currently at, I'll give you the odometer view, 288,394 on the mileage. Service engine light is on. That's the oil change light, but I just ran the little pocket scanner, cheapo, Amazon, the cheapest. I think this was $13. Not the best. All of the features that it says it has doesn't work on this car, but this is also a very old OBD2 setup. Everything passed. We have 7 monitors that are ready, 9 total that get tested in Illinois. So this right now, if I was pulling into the emissions place, this would pass emissions. Only problem, and good to go, I'm cleared. I have 2 readiness monitors that are not set up and not ready to pass. One is the evap, which I don't remember. I thought I might have fixed that, but I really genuinely cannot remember over the last 2 years. 2 years ago is the last emissions I had to do on this. So there's a good chance that the evap system doesn't work, but I think, genuinely, I do think that might have been working. And this other one is the air injection pump. Those two things are not registered on the monitors, but in Illinois, I don't know how they do this in your state or anywhere else. It's a 1996. I could get expanded antique plates for this car by all standards and rules and regulations. 25 years is our cutoff. You can get expanded antiques for a 25-year-old car, but they don't want you driving from December 1st through February. They just changed that law last year or two. I have antique plates on all the bikes because it's just easier having older bikes and they don't have to do emissions for anything else. If this was a 95 instead of a 96, wouldn't have to do emissions, but it is an OBD2 first year nonetheless, but I gotta do it. So everything else is working. I know the air injection pump on this car is shot. It's non-issue. The motor's completely locked up. To replace and fix that is a $430 part. Was the best I saw the last time I looked, which was probably 2 years ago, but it was over 400 bucks. I can't justify spending 400 bucks on one singular part for a car that I paid 1,500 bucks for. Fine, but somehow it doesn't trip the check engine light for that. So as long as I don't have, if my dash looks like this, I have one light up here for the hazards, but if the dash looks like this and all of my readiness monitors are good to go, this will pass emissions. I could cut the exhaust off right after the cat and show up with open dumped exhaust. As long as the O2 is reading and it's not throwing a check engine light, O2 typically, in my experience, is one of the first things to trigger your light, we should be in good shape. So I want to bring this to emissions right now. It's closed. It's past the working day. I got done with the day job and then working at the shop. So tomorrow's game plan. I'm gonna drive this to work in the morning and then beeline it straight to the emissions testing facility with the pocket scanner. If the air pump or the evap monitors or testing connects with the ECU, I'm getting a check engine light. And then I'll have to go out to go around the emissions place, find some farm roads and do a drive cycle to get it through. I'm allowed to have 2 monitors that aren't ready. I should be able to get the O2, the EGR, the CAT, the fuel trim, the check engine light, all the other monitor tests. This should pass, but those 2 are my concern. It's not that I know one of those 2 is not working. Second one, it might be working. I don't remember, but it's playing the game of I don't have a check engine light, which will automatically put you in the you're not passing category, or 2, is the ECU for the check engine light dumber than the mileage it takes for me to get to the emissions place and back. This is a really efficient system, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I get it. I have a 1996, we're going on almost a 30-year-old vehicle, and I have to play this game to try and get it to pass emissions for a check engine light code that's supposed to help with emissions, but it's so old and antiquated where it now is not worth the cost of the car. I like keeping my old junk on the road, and to me, I feel like I'm doing the world a favor by not going out and buying a brand new car and sinking myself further in debt, even though it's not the most fuel efficient vehicle out there. But I don't know. That's a whole different other thing. There's also several parts of the county that I live in the state of Illinois, that are exempt from emissions. I'm not that lucky, so I will update you guys tomorrow as we're doing the drive out to the emission place, and then maybe I'll just leave the camera going at the emissions and see how redundant and how little I am concerned about their rules and regulations for how that's set up. I have the first year OBD2 car. My port for the OBD2, we haven't left the parking lot yet, so I'm not driving and talking to you guys, but there's a port for the OBD2 sensor. It is right in the center console. I literally have to tell the people at the emissions place where to plug in the OBD2 scanner. I shouldn't have to do that, but standard mandate now. Typically, all of them are under the dash, driver's side, left leg, right leg, somewhere in there. This is older than that, but that's it for now. We'll catch you, well, I'll update you guys tomorrow and see how this thing goes. I don't have my mic, so I gotta talk loud over the car, but attempted emissions failed. Driving around, I threw a code, cleared it. It was off for 2 days straight, so I was hoping I'd be all right. It's a long run from my day job to the emissions testing place, so I have probably wasted 50 to 70 miles worth of gas trying to get this to pass emissions or get it ready enough to go to the emissions place. I feel like at some point, and I'm gonna end up having to do this a couple times just because I got a stupid issue, but I feel like I'm using more emissions to try and get this thing ready to pass emissions. So, kind of a pain, but check engine light came back on, I just scanned it. It is a evap code for, yeah, evap, large leak detected. So I ordered a new purge canister, charcoal canister, solenoid dealio. Hopefully that should fix it, but I have no idea at this point. I'm gonna run over to my buddy's shop real quick, hopefully, and try and use their actual scanner instead of my crappy little cheapo one. And then hopefully I can get that sorted out and try this again for the next 2 days if I can't get it through. Just sucks. It was ready to go yesterday, and I used to have an emissions place 3 minutes from my work. So that was really convenient. They stopped doing it, and now I have a 25-minute drive on the short end, and traffic's terrible heading out that way, so it's never 25 minutes. So I'll update you guys once we get over and get a real scanner on this thing, and then hopefully that purge canister, it's large leak detected on the evap system, so worst case I might have to smoke it and check some vacuum lines. But that simultaneously trips when the monitors go to ready for whatever reason now. It worked fine for the first go, not so much anymore. Bummer. I just want to be done with this stupid thing. I was hoping to have good news and tell you that the Volvo passed emissions, but it did not. Got out of work today, well, got into work today, scanned it, 8 of 9 of the monitors were clear. I only need 7, so I was thinking we're in pretty good shape. I made it to about 4 miles away from the emissions testing facility, and I was sitting at the stoplight staring at the dash the entire time on the drive. And the check engine light came on for a evap emissions code. I was pissed. I thought we were gonna be in good shape, get it through. And if the check engine light comes on after I get a sticker for the plate, I don't care. But right now is kind of I don't like not having that car fully registered, done, whatever else. I'm on expired tags because of emissions things. So we ended up, my buddy's shop is kind of on the way back home from there. So I stopped there and we were gonna smoke test it, check everything, put it up in the air to check all the lines and things like that. I found a vacuum line that goes up to the top of the tank. I don't know which one it's for, but one of the lines that should have been one piece was split with like a 4 or 5 inch gap from a mouse, literally teeth marks in the rubber. So thank you, critters and rodents, for destroying my evap system. But saw that, got that all patched in. Now I got another drive cycle on the wagon to try and get that done. What am I gonna do? I gotta try and fix it, try and repair it, get it done enough to go through. On the 8 of the 9 readiness, the only one that didn't actually go through was the evap, but somehow it tripped the check engine light for an evap large leak prior to emissions test or the monitor being ready. So it is what it is. That's really all I'm worried about right now at this current juncture, outside of the coding stuff and everything else. But I was hoping to be completely done with that car, so now you guys are stuck getting little updates from trying to wrestle with driving from one spot to the other to get it to pass emissions. Then the check engine light comes on, but at that point I'm already legal, so it sucks. So, we're done with the car for now. Enjoy the time lapse of the boat. That's next. Well, not next video, but we're gonna play that now. So let's jump to the time lapse because I'm kind of rambling. Heat shrinking a boat. Borrowed a buddy's torch. We've never used one of those before, but Dan for helping out on the boat. It's one of those things. Gotta have a ton of toys. You gotta be able to put in a ton of work and try and figure out all of these other things to get them prepped for winter in Illinois. Because it's snowing. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah. So just in the nick of time. I don't think we're gonna get a ton, but it's snowing. All right, well, hopefully I have better news tomorrow when I try and run the Volvo through the emissions again for the 4th time. I still haven't actually gone to the, I got a pocket scanner, so usually I get close and then, or get there, and then the check engine light comes on, so wish me luck. Well, back at the chopper barn. Compressor's inside now. Got this on a battery charger just because. Not really working on too much on this, but we got done with the trailer job and we upgraded the hose to the bigger one, so I got fittings for that. Right now I'm running a 1.25 inch whip hose from the pot. I don't have the giant one because in the blaster booth, I really don't need all that much. So that should shorten that run. I still will have a pretty good size run from the pot to the compressor, but this being a non-glow plug motor makes more sense to leave in here just so Heater's working. I switched over the thermocoupler and the gas line based on some advice from Slick. Thank you for calling me out on that one. I touched base with my good buddy of mine from high school too. He was with you on that one. If you can run it back to the stock location, please do. So he recommended that one as well. So we got that all sorted out. Everything's been working. It's staying nice and warm up here. But compressor's gonna live in here, and then I'll hitch it up, pull it out, and run the hoses through the doors for now. I might drill some holes, and I used to have it mounted on the side, but it's way easier to get a diesel, especially without glow plugs, fired up if it's actually warm. I just attached a stick-on block heater underneath as well. And that oil leak on here, I think I might have just overfilled it, and it was misting a little bit more oil than it should out of the screw side. But I ran this in here, I don't know, a couple of minutes, and I don't have any oil whatsoever underneath it. So I don't know if it's just under extended use or what. It's just really hard to duplicate. So I'm gonna kind of keep monitoring that one as we progress. And that's pretty much that. So this will stay here. Just pulled the tractor and I've been using this to move the little trailer around. I am slammed with gym equipment again. So we got all this big giant stuff that I gotta start chipping away at, and then a ton of window frames at the shop. So we are very busy in terms of the coating side. I have not had much time to play around with motorcycle stuff, but I was able to clear out more stuff from the house garage, and you know, like, I don't have anything placed. I got Frankenstein out of the barn. Still have a couple things to do on that. I'm hoping I can give you guys a good update on what we're doing with this. I think it might be getting traded for something that I think will help me more up here at the property. Hint, hint, if that lets you guys ponder on that one for a while before I get any more info. I got the ironhead basket case project. Basket case, not in a bad way, but ironhead project. Back on the lift, on the airlift that I brought back from the house. There's some cutting and welding and grinding that needs to get done on this. Unfortunately, I already coated the frame, so that's probably gonna all have to get redone again at some point, and the motor's probably gonna come back out once we get the brake stuff figured out, but he forgot about it. I didn't even think about it because I was told it was a complete running riding bike. Not the case. Shovelhead still needs parts. I'm kind of stalling on the parts order for that one, but I am hoping to get parts ordered for that in the next week or two. Hopefully this week, but I'm trying to also make sure I got enough stuff to order for this ironhead. And then we've just been kind of like, I'm still looking for a cheaper deal. Like, I don't want to buy brand new parts and waste a ton of money on that. So that's kind of where we're at up here. And we'll kind of just go from there. It's a lot of winter prep and cleanup, getting the boat prepped. I think I still need to run over to the Falcon and make sure that the water is out of that and get some coolant in there because it's snowing. And then ideally, once the Volvo gets through emissions, we'll get back on the dually and start ripping that thing through, try to get the emission stuff figured out on that. Once that's legal and plated, I don't need the dually as much. Then I can go over to my shop, pull the bed off, but we've been so slammed with coating stuff, it's been very difficult to get any sort of free time to get any progress made on any of the projects that we got going on. Fleet of bikes is hooked up. I did grab a multi-bank battery tender. I've wanted one of those for years, whether it's here or the house garage. We got a buddy's bike in for storage and an oil change. Got the Gorelli over here, and just kind of clean up, reorganize, figure out what's gonna go where, and go from there. So that's it for now, I guess. I don't know where this is going or in what video this is going into. I know it's kind of hodgepodge, but this is pretty much my life, just getting set up for the hunker down part of winter. And then hopefully sometime soon we can start turning wrenches on the stuff that I really want to be working on, but don't have the time with the life thing and all the other stuff going on. So apologize about that. If you stuck through the Volvo videos, thanks for sticking around. Not unsubscribing because there's too much car stuff, but it's just I try and keep this channel as real to me as possible, and some days I'm working on a John Deere, some days I'm working on Harley stuff, some days I'm working on a daily driver winter car. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all those other fun things. I promise you there will be a lot more bike stuff coming once we get into winter, so we'll catch you on the next one.